From pizza to home services and now transforming an industry. Today's guest grew up watching his dad buy his first Pizza Hut back in 1967, and decades later, he's still transforming industries from the inside out.
After leading franchise development for Domino's, ServiceMaster, and Authority brands, he could have stayed retired. But when innovation knocked, he answered, founding RenewMedic, a brand born from a simple idea: repair what's damaged, don't replace it.
With national insurance relationships, lightning-fast turnaround times, and a model no one else is doing, RenewMedic is changing the restoration game.
I'm Roxanne Rapske, and this is my colleague, Sara Waskow. We created this podcast to bring you information and education about business ownership and all things franchising. Welcome to episode 109 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. Let's dive in with the founder and chief development officer of RenewMedic, Mike Pearce, and hear how decades of franchising experience sparked a whole new business revival. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your extremely busy day to join us. So let's just dive into your background. You grew up in franchising, so let's start there and get into how you got out of your old business, retired, unretired, and then the Furniture Medic, RenewMedic story.
Yeah, it's I grew up in a franchising family. That's all I've ever known. It's I came to see the real beauty in franchising is what I call it, is being able to replicate your success to grow to multi-unit ownership, to build a business that has a real net worth. And so, but yes, after I spent years working with my dad, I went into the corporate franchising world. He had sold his business and ended up as the head of franchising for Domino's Pizza, and then got in the home service space with ServiceMaster. I spent many years at ServiceMaster helping that company grow as one of the largest home service companies in the world. And then ended up at Authority Brands, and we sold that business about 3 years ago now, a little over 3 years ago. And after that, I retired. That company had 15 home service brands, and so I got to see the home service space at scale with ServiceMaster and Authority Brands, to see some of the biggest operations and thousands of franchisees. And so been doing this since 1987, so coming up on close to 40 years now.
Wow.
So it's just been, I love what I do, and had the opportunity to purchase one of ServiceMaster's smallest brands, and RenewMedic was a genesis. Started with one of those brands, and we created it, and just having a great time.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about that. Started with Furniture Medic and has now evolved into RenewMedic. So it's a very unique concept, as we said in the intro, and not a lot of others can provide this service. So tell us a little bit more about how that came to pass.
Sure. So years ago, when I was at ServiceMaster as the chief development officer, I was given responsibility for the Furniture Medic brand. I hired our current CEO here to run that brand, to manage that brand at ServiceMaster. And I pitched the idea. We had a number of franchisees that were also ServiceMaster restore owners in the disaster restoration space by a Furniture Medic, and they took the skill sets of refinishing and rebuilding furniture that we had there and applied them to cabinets. And they had roughly 2% of all homes in America have water or fire damage every year, and about half of those have cabinet damage. And they were applying those skills to the cabinets. We've been doing this service for over a decade, but the name Furniture Medic didn't do their cabinet business any good. And probably 12 years ago now, I pitched this idea of the RenewMedic brand to the CEO of ServiceMaster and got turned down, and they did not want to invest. But I saw the opportunity after I retired to purchase the Furniture Medic brand from ServiceMaster with the private equity group partners that I have. And we went ahead and tried to prove that CEO of ServiceMaster wrong by creating this brand and doing something really special with it.
I think that's so wonderful that you retired, but then this was still kind of in the back of your mind and you just kind of couldn't stay retired and decided to follow through with your original thought that had been turned down.
My wife, franchising is all about helping people. And my wife looked at me about 6 months after I retired. She said, "You're not helping anybody anymore. You need to get back in the game." And she was absolutely right. I love what I do and love helping franchisees start businesses, grow them, and then sell them. And it's just a pleasure in life to do that.
And she probably wasn't used to having you underfoot all the time.
Maybe that was her polite way of saying, "Go back to work."
Honey, you really need something to do. So tell us, so when did you actually come back? And then when was Renew Medic founded? And then kind of take us to where you're at today.
Sure. So I came back a couple of years ago, actually. It took us a while, the genesis and the effort to put a brand new brand together, to do all the background work, all the legal work and naming and trademarking and everything took us a while. We launched Renew Medic with a new FDD in May of this year. We had purchased 5 Furniture Medic franchisees that did this work and created 5 corporate units and converted 4 Furniture Medic franchisees that were very large scale franchisees, multi-million-dollar operators into Renew Medic late last year, but just started selling franchises in May of this year as the new brand. So,
out of curiosity, what's the story with Furniture Medic? Are they those franchisees? I'm assuming there's still franchisees operating under that name. And then is anyone still, is that brand still being developed? Are people buying any Furniture Medic franchises now? Or
Yes.
is it, they are?
Yes, Furniture Medic is an amalgamation of a number of different revenue streams, but first and foremost, it's a commercial service brand. They do wood and furniture refurbishment for hotels, for restaurants, for medical offices, anything with a lot of wood. And the franchisees that were doing the cabinet work, large scale, converted over, but the existing Furniture Medic franchisees continue on. We are selling franchises, doing well with the brand, and it rolls on. And
Gotcha. Okay.
So Furniture Medic is obviously focused on furniture repair, as you just said and shared. Tell us about Renew Medic, because it kind of evolved from your damage restoration background and coming in and resolving issues, obviously, after damage had taken place. But elaborate on that. Tell us more.
Sure. So ever since the disaster restoration industry was invented, probably 75, 80, or even longer years ago, nobody thought that you could take typically when there's water damage, it's typical due to a mechanical failure of a refrigerator or sink or dishwasher, and there's maybe only 4 or 5 cabinets sitting in water. The larger scale disasters require total kitchen replacement, but nobody believed that you could just extract the affected 25-year-old cabinets and put new cabinets in and have them perfectly match the 25-year-old cabinets around them, above and beside. And so the solution was to, every time you got any kind of water damage in cabinets, was to wipe out the entire kitchen and replace it completely. That's about typically a $40,000 to $50,000 expense for an insurance company. But the mitigation companies, the disaster restoration companies, said that's the only solution. We can't match. We took the skill set that we had in Furniture Medic of custom color matching stains and refinishing and everything, and realized that it's typically just the bottom of the box that's sitting in water and is compromised, and we could rebuild the box behind the existing face frames and doors. So we take off the face frames and doors and build a new box behind them and then reinstall them. and we could do it in a fraction of the time at a fraction of the cost. And so instead of 4 months of spending your life in an Airbnb and your kitchen being completely rebuilt, it's a couple weeks waiting on the mitigation company to finish drying, and we'll reinstall the existing face frames and doors with new boxes behind them with full function.
So you might have said this and I might have missed it, but the reason the family can stay in the home and not have to move out is because the kitchen stays intact. You guys have a way of bracing the countertops, right? So the sinks are still there, the countertops are still there, only the cabinets are pulled out, right?
Yeah, we save the countertops, which is another big expense. Some kitchens $15,000 or more, but we'll brace those in place. Even if it's we're pulling every cabinet under an island, we'll brace the island up and keep the sink and the dishwasher and everything intact, so you can stay in your home and again have the cabinets rebuilt and reinstalled within 2 to 3 weeks typically.
Wow, I can't imagine how much money that saves the insurance companies, not having to pay for hotels or Airbnbs and a whole kitchen remodel.
Yeah, it's typically $40,000 for a new kitchen and $15,000 for alternative living expenses.
Okay.
Compared to about our average ticket of $8,000, and instead of 4 months, it's 2 weeks. So.
Well, I would assume because of this great savings and your background in restoration, are there some relationships, national relationships with insurance companies that? Or are there areas where there's not a Renew Medic yet, where they're dying for you to come into town so that you can help them out?
There are. It was interesting because we were born of Furniture Medic, which was owned by ServiceMaster, which is one of the largest disaster restoration companies in America. We had, just starting out, we had national relationships. A company our size has really no business having national account relationships with some of the biggest insurance companies in the nation, like Allstate and Farmers and Liberty Mutual. So we have those. They are aware of what we can do. They actually send us leads. We process them through a team here in our corporate office and hand those off to franchisees. They take care of the business. We'll collect the funds and do that. So we have some of those insurance companies begging us to sell franchises because they know how much we can save them in each and every market we go into. And so when we go into a new market, we let all the adjusters know, of we're arrived, what we can do, and we send the franchisees those leads. And so we really have franchise or insurance companies just rooting us on, trying to help us grow this brand.
I bet that's a lot of money. And I've been through a water event myself and had to redo an entire master bathroom, and it was not fun or pretty or cheap. So yeah, wow.
Well, and there's one thing if you're redoing it because you decide you want to redo it. Right. And there's another scenario when you wake up one morning and, the ceiling above you is falling down on you in the kitchen or whatever, and it's completely unexpected and not planned for. So,
many people love the kitchen they have, and they don't want to have to get a new kitchen, and others do want a new kitchen, but you're insured to pre-loss condition. And we solve that problem of being able to repair instead of replace and save, all the landfill of an entire scrapped kitchen and all the hassle. So it's a really cool business model that we came up with.
Yeah, it is cool. So I'm curious, based on what you just shared and, the partnerships with the insurance companies and some of those things that kind of differentiate you. You told us as we were preparing for this today, how quickly you're growing. So tell us a little bit about who makes a good franchisee for you? What are you looking for in your new franchise partners?
We just signed our 16th new franchisee, and I just finished a discovery day today with 4 more candidates that came in to take a look at this. The brand is, I had somebody at a recent convention say, "Oh, you guys are the hot brand," and it really is turning into a hot brand. But typically, what we're looking for is somebody with a white collar executive with who's managed blue collar employees, and so these are one recent candidate was a manager of a Amazon warehouse. He had 2,000 employees, probably 15 or 20 managers underneath him, working for him that were managing those employees. But he was just a prime candidate, understood the nature of managing blue collar labor. And so with this business, you have essentially a fully formed custom cabinet building shop. You hire a cabinet builder, which is a skilled carpenter, a finisher, which is another skilled labor, and then a highly experienced cabinet installer, and then probably a junior person to help them pull the cabinets and reinstall them. So that's what you start with, and we're looking for people who can manage and become a subcontractor for mitigation companies. That's trusted partner that will always show up on time and knows how to manage that labor force.
And the owner of a franchise, of a Renumedic franchise, is going to actually build a shop, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we require a minimum of 7,500 square feet of flexible industrial space, flex industrial. We require a table saw, a CNC machine, CNC router that cuts the cabinet parts, an edge bander that puts edges on shelves and whatnot. We have a spray booth to spray either paint or finish on a stained door or face front and or kick plate. And so they have that. The equipment package is roughly $100,000 to $150,000. They have to install the spray booth, which can be fairly expensive depending on fire code in a particular city. But they are investing in a fully functioning custom cabinet building shop. They'll have everything they need to handle any situation that arises, whatever magnitude of problem that they face.
I'm sure that excites the heck out of some people and probably terrifies other people, but you're not looking for the people that are terrified. I have a client that's very excited about that. So he likes doing DIY things around his house. So he's very excited about his wood shop. I have a question for you because this has come up before with different brands. What happens if somebody's colorblind and they are in a business where they have to match things? Right. How does that work?
So we require all franchisees to give color blindness tests to every employee before they hire them. So if you are colorblind, you just can't be a part of the team, because that's a key element of what will drive success, is getting a perfect match on a stain of, taking a 30-year-old cabinet door and color matching a brand new stain to it. And you have to be skilled at that.
So a franchisee can be colorblind, but none of his employees can be, or her employees can be colorblind, right?
Yeah, we do not give the franchisees a color blindness test, but it is a requirement that employees that work on that, be able to perfectly match. It's interesting that the vast majority of finishers that we have in our businesses are women. And biologically, women have more rods in their eyes than men do, and they see color more fully. And that's what leads a good chunk of our labor force to be women.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So as far as the role of the owner, you described some of it. Do they have a need to kind of be out in the community, building relationships, networking, things like that? Or are they mostly getting their referrals from the insurance companies?
So it's both. We tell franchisees, don't rely on the free cheese. It's a great, icing on top of the cake, but your role and what, I tell every franchisee, before you buy a franchise, you need to understand two things: what creates success in this business and what causes failure. I had probably the best franchisee I ever helped start a business. He called and said, "Mike, tell me who your number one franchisee is and who your worst franchisee is." He called up the number one franchisee and said, "Hey, I would like to come out to your shop. I'll offer myself as free labor. I want to be working in your shop. I'll help. If all you need me to do is take out the trash, I'll do that. But I'd like to be there for 2 weeks." And then he called the worst franchisee and said the same thing. "Hey, I just want to come out and be in your shop. I'll offer myself as free labor. I'd like to be there for 2 days. And he told me, he said, I could figure out what caused failure in 2 days.
Wow.
And what created success. It might take me a couple of weeks to figure out, but I wanted to understand it before I started the business. And so the ability to build relationships, you're going to act as a subcontractor for mitigation companies, your Serpros, your Belfour, your Paul Davis, Rainbow, all the different groups out there. And you'll be doing work directly for insurance companies through adjusters. And so building relationships with adjusters, those are the two key factors that you're going to have to be out locally building relationships with. Over time, the business evolves. It'll go from working solely for mitigation companies at first, but 3 to 5 years down the road, all the adjusters in town will know you, know your reputation. They'll either like you or they won't. And if they do, they'll tell that mitigation company, do not touch those cabinets until RenewMedic comes in and gives me an estimate. They will, and you'll no longer be working as a subcontractor because the adjusters will be doing work directly with you. So it's, once they understand what you can do, nobody in any given marketplace that we are not in understands that this is even possible. Nobody believes this is possible. And then we show them, and it takes a little bit of time to help educate people, but you have to build relationships with the mitigation companies, and they're all trying to be found. They're all trying to, and the adjusters. It's a little bit more difficult, but every job you do has an adjuster, and they see you build a relationship with an adjuster on a job, and over time that can turn into something special by itself.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, tell us, Mike, you obviously, your whole career has been in franchising. You've been on the corporate side of franchising. You now developed a franchise. What would be a tip that you would like to leave our listeners with? Anybody that might be thinking, oh, I think I might want to be a franchisee. I might want to be a business owner. What words of wisdom can you share for them? You've shared a lot already, but would love to hear.
Probably have 100 different things that I share with prospective franchisees. One, to me, so I purchased a franchise when I was at Authority Brands. I had 2 sons that ran it, and I had at that time I think 11 or 12 brands to choose from. I was going to all the different conventions, and I was at one particular brand's convention. So I was trying to choose a franchise that I wanted my sons to be involved in. And at the convention, I saw the quality and character of the founder who stayed on after Authority Brands bought his business. It's called America's Swimming Pool Company, and the quality and character of the founder of that business. He treated his franchisees like they were family and protected them like they were his children. And that's who I wanted to be working with my sons, who, supporting them, leading, guiding them. I was a member of the senior management team, and I was living in Washington, D.C., and they were here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I wanted that support. So the number one piece of advice anybody looking at a franchise is the most important thing you need to be considering is the quality and character of the people you're going into business with. And I will tell you the number one thing a franchisor I'm looking for in a franchisee is someone without ego. If somebody shows up at a discovery day or gets on a call and just has a high ego, and the answer is just automatically no. If they think they know better than anybody else and telling you everything you're doing wrong, then that's probably not a good fit. Culture is everything. To me, the best piece of value of being in any franchise system is not the corporate support, it's not the marketing, it's not the sales support, it's the other franchisees, and to find a culture where franchisees support each other. They'll, get on a call and help one another out when times are tough or whatever, is really, like I said, that's the most valuable piece of being in a franchise system. So look for the quality and character of the senior management team. They're going to be making decisions that will affect your business for the next 10, 20 years and beyond. And do you believe they have your best interest at heart? And then look at the culture of the franchise system. And if you find something that fits your your quality and your character. If you find something that fits your desires for how you want to run your business, then you found a good fit.
Wow. Excellent advice.
Excellent advice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are so grateful that you took time out of your busy day. We know you had that discovery day this morning and have other commitments later today. If someone wanted to get a hold of you or learn more about Renew Medic, how would you like for them to reach out?
So renewmedic.com, you can learn, see videos on what we do, how we do it. But reach out to if you want to submit your information online. You can submit there. You'll reach Storm Miller at Repum. They are our FSO, franchise sales organization. Storm is one of the best, very best in the business. We are so pleased to have been able to get into business with Repum, the Repum group, and to have all the people they have to have Storm on our brand is just a remarkable thing. So they'll start with Storm, and he'll reach out and share with you all the information you'll need. So.
We love Storm. Thanks for that.
Yes. Shout out to Storm. Okay. Well, again, thank you, Mike, for joining us. And for our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about franchising or would like to connect with Roxanne or myself, please see the links in the description below. And we hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.